Hey everybody, I just got back from RCL National Championships held at Salt Lake City. Spoilers, I didn't do very well. Now, I have long heard of reliable sources that cut out parts for you in just about any material you want, such as SendKit Send, CNC Madness, etc. But because I have access to my college water jet, I looked for alternative sources that could give me just slabs of material for cheaper. Now, I've actually had some success in the past with this method. I use suppliers such as Big R Metals, a local business that sells decent quality AR that handles combat relatively well. And back when I used a different material for my top plate, I was able to find a vendor on Amazon that sold genuine woven polypropylene. That's when I started working on version 4 when I began to run into some problems. Heltung's old weapon used AR-600 from a supplier called Aimbot Targets, another legitimate AR source that sells steel performing at least on par with AR-500. Unfortunately, when I went to order from them again, I was informed that they no longer ship to the United States. I had to find a different vendor, and I was able to find a listing on Amazon that looked pretty good. This is the steel I used for BCRC, and the parts that I made from them held up pretty well. But I actually gotten the hardness of the steel tested, and it came out to around 40 HRC, while the ideal hardness for AR-500 is around 50 HRC. The bigger the number, the better. I knew that this could be improved. I was told that eBay had some steel that I could use, and after looking around for a bit, I found a listing for 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch AR-500 from a vendor called Harness Steel Sales. I could have gone back to Big R Metals for the 1/4 inch stuff, but I decided to get everything I needed from one vendor for convenience. The steel arrived fairly quickly, and I soon cut everything out. However, disaster struck when, after I had cut the thicker steel plate, I realized it was much thinner than I wanted it to be. I never checked it beforehand because I'm kind of a dumbass. Because I could no longer return it, I had to make do with what I had. And I was actually able to fit 4 anti-drum forks on one configuration and have it still be within weight. I showed up at Salt Lake City, and my first opponent was a beater called Unga Bunga. The fight started, and the anti-drum forks were actually worked kind of well for the first 2 hits. However, they quickly started to become mangled, and I lost all ground game advantage. My robot actually did make it all 3 minutes, making this the second time Heltung has lost a judge's decision. The fight left all of my anti-drum forks completely destroyed. Me and other bot builders came to the consensus that this steel was not as hard as advertised. AR-500 would have not bent this aggressively before cracking. I later tested parts from the 1/4 inch AR as well, and found out they were equally as weak.
Hey, Editing Jacob here. I was about to go on a rant on how you should never buy anything from this seller under any circumstances, but under my negative review on the product, they said that the problem was someone had goofed up my order and sent me the wrong alloy, and that they would be sending me the correct one for free. I will be testing the steel when it arrives, and I'll leave an update in the description in the coming weeks, so look out for that. Regardless, this situation is absolutely unacceptable, and I would avoid this seller if you need some metal.
I also suffered some issues with the carbon fiber I used for this robot. I ordered it off Amazon, which, like eBay, has good vendors, but you have to make sure you find them. The stuff I used was this 2mm carbon fiber from Callaway. For a while, it seemed pretty good. It was stiff and provided ample structure for Heltung. It was actually a lot lighter than carbon fiber should have been, but I brushed it off. Unfortunately, during my second fight at this tournament, I learned the hard way I should have been more skeptical. My next opponent was a rematch against Venator. The fight started, and in an attempt to get to Venator's sides, I ran my bot over him and he hit my underside, cleaving my bottom plate in 2 pieces and severing my power wires, marking the second time this robot incapacitated mine in 1 hit. A closer inspection of the bottom plate revealed that the weave used in the center of the carbon fiber was a lot different than the weave used on the surface. The fibers were a lot smaller. I and a few other builders believe that this is what contributed to its weakness. Poor quality materials cost me any good run in the second most prestigious tournament in the USA, and I have to wait a minimum of a year before I get the chance to qualify again. Words cannot describe how pissed I am. Moral of the story, do not buy materials from random bullshit vendors. Always talk with more experienced bot builders before you buy anything. Here are a few that I know are good. Use one of them or do your research. Goodbye.